So since most times when people talk about slavery and the transatlantic slave trade, they talk about the physical horrors, um, but rarely do I hear people talking about the psychological toll it took on human beings who were being tortured day in and day out, and the things that they saw. And when I wrote my book, Curse the Cotton, I really wanted to get into that. I actually put myself in that spot as much as I possibly could because there's no way that I can actually do that, but I try my best. Um, I'm a mother, so and we all have parents, right? And siblings. So you imagine what it would be if that happened today. Some of the things that happened back in the day, TikTok won't allow on here. Um, for obvious reasons. They'll probably just totally be like, no. But I wrote the book Curse the Cotton, and I can't say everything, but Curse the Cotton is one of those books that probably would be pulled. Okay. If it was in a library. All right. But um, I go over the psychological toll, not just the physical, because in movies you see the physical and then you might see them, crying for a minute and then everything's okay the next day. That's not how psychological warfare happens. That's not how torture happens. No, you don't get over that junk in a day. Okay. Here's my book Curse the Cotton, and it's one of my most popular novels, okay, that I've ever written. And um, Shalone or Shelone. People say it different ways, but Shalone or Shelone. I say Shalone. Some people say Shelone. This is her name. And one of the instances was when she lost her children, like all of them, except for one. They were all sold off. And I'm going to read a portion of what happened to her psychologically. The night came with screams toppled with horror, forcing Lily to remove baby Abraham from Shalone's arms while she slept because she gripped him so tightly until the thought of Abraham getting suffocated to death weighed on her conscience. However, as soon as Shalone felt her baby not there, she screamed for him so loudly that even the hounds started barking. Shalone was vexed, and as the hours passed, she got worse. At times during the 2 long days and nights that Lily helped her take care of baby Abraham, she sat in the furthest corner and watched Shalone in the middle of the night call out, nearly climbing the walls to get to her children that were nowhere near her anymore. Once she bolted toward the cabin door and ran her fastest down the pathway that her children traveled on when they were taken from the property. It was the middle of the night, and Abraham was sound asleep in Lily's lap when Shalone, as the Negroes called it, left her right mind. Everyone heard her screaming as she ran across the dirty ground, half dressed and seemingly deaf, because she didn't respond to anyone trying to gain control of her. Lady Rose, the oldest black lady on the plantation, had dealt with this type of thing before. But there was no one on the plantation that had a mind of calmness like her. Therefore, when Shalom panicked, everyone else did at the same time, trying to hush her before she woke up Mr. Marksman. Shalom made it halfway to the woods when it took a younger Negro male who'd just gotten to the plantation by 2 weeks to chase her down. She ran like her son Kosa, and it was the fastest anyone had ever seen her run. They knew her mind had left then, in just those 2 days, because she ran like those rocks and stones didn't hit her feet. She was halfway naked and didn't care. She didn't care about anything or anyone else but her lost children. Until she was shaken by the young man who boldly stopped her in her tracks and scolded her. I'm tired of you yelling, hollering, and screaming. They gone. And they might not ever come around here no more. For good, you hear? But that don't mean you got to lose your mind. You making me crazy myself. And I ain't never seen my mama in years. Years now. One thing I got though is my life in my head. Keep it. Going crazy ain't never gonna get your children back. But keeping it together might. Live, he ordered, letting her body free from the grip he had on her from behind. Live, or they gonna kill you just to blind all your babies. They still need them prayers. They still need them. Now that was just one little part. There's another part in there where, and of course there are good romantic parts in there. There are horrible parts, but there's one part where she completely lost. She completely lost it, and that wasn't the part, okay? Because she had one little baby left, and there's something happened in there that she completely lost her mind. And that's when deadly things started to happen, which is why it's called Curse the Cotton. But yeah, so the psychological, and I can't tell you that because not, no, they'll take it down. I can't even read that part of the book. But like, the psychological warfare, and that's a fiction book, okay? The psychological warfare was deep. You have to understand, and I wrote another book um, called The Day I Met Freedom. Psychological warfare. Our forefathers had to try and keep their heads. Imagine seeing things before your face, your loved ones getting their lives getting cut short, and you're forced to watch that. And you're forced to watch grapes. And you're forced to watch your own seed. And these things take a toll on somebody like never before. Like there's nothing that you can compare to it. If you even try to put yourself in it, you're not even there. It's the most horrific thing. There was some stuff that even happened on the slave ships that are documented in the newspapers back in the day. So, yeah, psychological warfare is something definitely that, and that's the reason I wrote Curse the Cotton, because I wanted to give a real, we're human beings. Those were human beings. And movies don't grab it a lot. You know, when you read a book, it's different than watching a movie. Okay. Um, and that was one of the reasons I really wanted to put everything in this book. And this book actually has everything in it. So if you want to know, if you want to go inside an enslaved person as best you can, a woman and a son, um, with just seeing blood in his eyes, this right here, this right here, Curse the Cotton. You can get it at the link. It's in the bio.